Saartjie Baartman, The Story of Exploitation, Resistance, and Healing. Saartjie Baartman's story is a deeply painful and complex narrative of exploitation, colonialism, racism, and the objectification of African women. Her life reflects the dark realities of the 19th century Western obsession with racial difference and scientific racism. Early life. Saartjie Baartman was born around 1789 in what is now the Eastern Cape of South Africa. She belonged to the Khoikhoi people, an indigenous ethnic group in southern Africa. The Khoikhoi, often referred to as Hottentots by European colonists as a derogatory term, were one of the groups severely affected by European colonization. Little is known about Saartjie's early life, but she likely grew up in a rural environment. During her time in the Cape Colony, Saartjie became a servant to a Dutch farmer, Hendrik Sizes. Her life took a drastic turn when she was noticed by William Dunlop, a British doctor and military man, who saw an opportunity to exploit her for profit. Journey to Europe and exploitation. In 1810, Saartjie was taken to Europe under the pretense of becoming a performer, and with promises of wealth and a better life. It is unclear how much agency she had in this decision, as accounts suggest that she may have been coerced or misled. She was taken to London by Sizes and Dunlop, where her exhibition as the Hottentot Venus began. The name Hottentot Venus is a significant symbol of her dehumanization. The term Venus was ironic, alluding to the Roman goddess of love and beauty, but Saartjie was not treated as a human being, much less a goddess. Instead, she was paraded in freak shows due to her physical features, especially her steatopygia, a condition common among Khoikhoi women characterized by the accumulation of fat in the buttocks. In London, she was exhibited like a curiosity, often displayed in a cage or on a stage in scant clothing. People paid to gawk at her body, marveling at her exotic appearance. She was forced to perform degrading acts, such as dancing or allowing people to touch her. The performances were not only humiliating, but served to reinforce racist stereotypes that Africans were somehow subhuman or hypersexual. Legal and public reactions in Britain. Saartjie's treatment caught the attention of abolitionists and humanitarians in London, who were concerned about her exploitation. In 1810, a group of abolitionists from the African Institution filed a complaint, believing that Saartjie was being held against her will and subjected to inhumane treatment. A court case ensued, with Dunlop and Sizes defending their actions by claiming that Saartjie had willingly signed a contract and consented to the exhibitions. Saartjie was brought to court to testify, and under immense pressure, she declared that she was performing of her own free will. However, given the power dynamics and her vulnerability as a black African woman in a foreign land, it is highly doubtful that she had any true autonomy in this decision. The court ultimately ruled in favor of her exhibitors, and Saartjie continued to be displayed. Journey to France. In 1814, Saartjie was sold to a French animal trainer named Rowe and taken to Paris. In France, she was exhibited in the same degrading manner, but her situation worsened. In Paris, Saartjie became the subject of study by French scientists who were interested in her body as an object of scientific inquiry. One such figure was Georges Cuvier, a prominent French naturalist and anatomist. He examined and measured her body, using her as evidence for his theories of racial hierarchy, which placed Europeans at the top and Africans at the bottom. Cuvier and other scientists viewed Saartjie as a specimen, a missing link between humans and animals, reinforcing harmful pseudoscientific ideas about race that justified slavery and colonialism. In addition to being studied, Saartjie continued to be exhibited for the amusement of the public in Paris, often alongside animals in a circus-like atmosphere. Her living conditions deteriorated, and she was likely subjected to sexual exploitation. Death and aftermath. Saartjie Baartman died in Paris on December 29, 1815, at the age of 26. The cause of death is uncertain, but it is thought that she may have died from smallpox, pneumonia, or alcoholism. Her tragic life did not end with her death. Georges Cuvier requested her remains, and her body was dissected and preserved. Cuvier made a cast of her body, removed her brain and genitals, and placed them on display at the Musée de l'Homme in Paris. For over a century, Saartjie's remains were displayed as a scientific curiosity in France. Her body became a symbol of scientific racism and colonial exploitation, continuing to be studied and exhibited to reinforce European notions of African inferiority. Campaign for her return. It was only in the late 20th century that awareness grew around the injustice done to Saartjie Baartman. Scholars, activists, and the South African government began to campaign for the return of her remains to her homeland. After years of negotiations, France finally agreed to repatriate Saartjie's remains in 2002. On August 9, 2002, Saartjie Baartman's remains were returned to South Africa, and she was given a dignified burial in the Gamtoos Valley, near her birthplace in the Eastern Cape. Her burial took place on National Women's Day, a fitting tribute to a woman whose story had become a symbol of the exploitation of African women during the colonial period. Legacy and impact. Saartjie Baartman's story has become a powerful symbol of the intersection of race, gender, and colonialism. She is remembered not only as a victim of exploitation, but also as a figure whose tragic life reveals the ways in which African women were objectified, sexualized, and dehumanized in the name of science and entertainment. In modern times, Saartjie's story has inspired countless works of art, literature, and academic inquiry. She has been honored as a symbol of resilience and a reminder of the injustices of the past. In South Africa, her legacy is particularly important in the context of post-apartheid efforts to reclaim and honor the histories of those who suffered under colonialism and racial oppression. Her story also serves as a broader commentary on the ways in which Black women's bodies have historically been commodified and controlled, a legacy that continues to have repercussions in contemporary society. Conclusion. Saartjie Baartman's life was one of exploitation and suffering, but her legacy is one of dignity, resilience, and the pursuit of justice. Her repatriation and burial in her homeland were acts of healing, both for her memory and for a nation grappling with its colonial past. Saartjie Baartman's story reminds us of the importance of confronting historical injustices and honoring the humanity of those who have been wronged. The return of Saartjie Baartman, a moment of national healing. In 2002, South Africa witnessed a moment of profound significance. The return of Saartjie Baartman's remains to her homeland after nearly 200 years of exploitation, scientific racism, and indignity. Saartjie Baartman, a Khoikhoi woman, had been taken to Europe in 1810 under false pretenses and paraded as the Hottentot Venus, an object of both fascination and dehumanization due to her physical features. Her life and legacy became emblematic of the atrocities of colonialism, particularly in the way African women were objectified and exploited. After her death in Paris in 1815, her body was dissected, preserved, and displayed in French museums for over a century. It wasn't until the late 20th century that calls for her remains to be returned to South Africa gained traction, supported by both South African activists and the government. On August 9, 2002, which was National Women's Day, Saartjie Baartman's remains were repatriated to South Africa. Her return was a moment of national reflection and healing, representing a larger effort to reclaim dignity for those who suffered under colonial exploitation. She was laid to rest in the Gamtoos Valley, near her birthplace, with the respect and ceremony she had been denied during her life. One of the most poignant moments of her repatriation was the reception of her remains at Port Elizabeth Airport. As the plane carrying her body touched down, an honor guard was present, symbolizing the importance of this moment for the country and the reclamation of African identity. Among that honor guard was the creator of this video, who had the privilege of standing witness to the return of Saartjie Baartman to the land of her ancestors. For those present, it was an emotional and powerful experience, one that stood as both a tribute to Saartjie Baartman's life and a reckoning with the painful history of colonialism. The honor guard's role was not just to pay respects, but also to embody the nation's collective desire to restore dignity to Saartjie and to all those who had suffered similar fates. Her repatriation was not only about laying her to rest, but also about restoring a sense of justice and closure to a long chapter of historical exploitation. This moment at the airport, shared by the creator of this video and many others, marked the beginning of Saartjie Baartman's final journey home. A journey that was long overdue, but was ultimately about reclaiming her humanity, dignity, and place in the history of South Africa. Polly Speaks for You incorporates voice control features that allow users to perform essential actions like opening, saving, and creating new documents, as well as interacting with font and document editing dialogues. This is particularly helpful for individuals with disabilities, enabling hands-free operation and more accessible content management. Below are some of the voice control functionalities designed for ease of use. 1. Voice-commanded document handling. A open document. Users can say commands like open document, followed by the file name or location, and Polly will open the document for them. Save document. Commands like save document as or save allow the user to save their work without needing to manually click on buttons. Polly can also handle saving with specific file names or locations as dictated. A new document. A simple voice command such as create new document or start new file will initiate a fresh document in the app. A closed document. Commands like close document or exit can be used to close the current document. 2. Font dialog voice controls. Font style. Users can control font settings by saying change font to Arial or set font at Times New Roman. This would change the selected text's font style. A font size. Commands like increase font size or decrease font size adjust the text size according to user preferences. A font color. Users can use commands such as set font color to red or change font to blue to personalize the text color. 3. Voice-commanded document editing. A text formatting. Commands like bold text, italicized text, underline text, or strikeout text allow users to edit their document easily. For example, saying bold this text will apply bold formatting to the selected text. Alignment. Users can command alignment changes by saying align left, align center, or align right. A text insertion. A user can say insert text, and the software will insert the given text at the current cursor position. A text navigation. Commands such as go to the top, scroll down, or move to the next paragraph enable users to navigate the document without the need for a mouse or keyboard. 4. Voice-activated help and assistance. Help commands. Users can ask questions like, what can I do? Or help me with saving to receive guidance on specific tasks. Polly can offer step-by-step instructions based on voice queries. A undo/redo. Voice commands such as undo or redo let users correct mistakes or revert to previous actions in their document. 5. Advanced features for accessibility. Speech recognition training. For improved accuracy, Polly can guide users through the Windows speech recognition training process, adapting to their voice patterns and improving dictation accuracy. A text-to-speech for editing. Users can have text read aloud to them while editing, making it easier to spot errors and refine their documents. These voice-controlled features make Polly Speaks for You an accessible tool for individuals with disabilities, particularly those with visual impairments, mobility issues, or other conditions that limit their ability to use traditional input devices. The hands-free operation helps users maintain independence and improve their document management and editing experience. If you've enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like, share, and subscribe buttons to stay updated with more content. The creator of Polly Speaks for You has always been driven by a passion for giving a voice to those who need it most. Whether it's through text-to-speech technology or voice recognition, the goal has always been to create tools that help individuals, especially those with disabilities or learning challenges, communicate and interact with the world in a way that is meaningful and empowering. The stories shared, such as those about the sailors aboard the HMS Victory, are not just about reliving history, they are about the power of voice. Through Polly Speaks for You, the creator saw an opportunity to use storytelling as a medium to convey courage, strength, and resilience, much like the sailors of the past. These stories are intended to inspire and engage users, reminding them of the importance of their voices, both literally and metaphorically. The idea behind these stories is to showcase how technology, particularly speech technology, can be a tool for preserving history, while also empowering users with the capability to share their own narratives. By blending history with technology, the creator of Polly Speaks for You aims to demonstrate how powerful a voice can be in shaping and sharing our world, past and present. In a sense, these stories represent more than just entertainment. They are a way for the creator to give a voice to history, to connect with users in a deeply human way, and to remind them that their voices matter, whether they are telling their own stories or those of others. The creator's work in developing Polly Speaks for You is never just about making a functional tool. It was about making sure that every voice had the power to be heard. If you've enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like, share, and subscribe buttons to stay updated with more content. This content has been adapted from the powerful features of Polly Speaks for You, South Africa's leading accessibility software. Learn more at www.polyspeaksforyou.co.za. We invite you to support this meaningful dyslexic initiative, crafted and developed by an individual who personally understands the challenges of dyslexia.